Welcome back to Nutrapreneur, where we explore cutting edge innovations in the nutraceutical industry. I'm your host, Bethany. Today, we're excited to have Derek Lourth, co founder of HealthLock, joining us. HealthLock is revolutionizing the health and nutrition sectors by enhancing transparency and traceability for ingredient suppliers. Derek, thank you for being here today to dive into how your platform is transforming the industry.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Bethany.
So, Derek, I think first it would be great if you could explain how HealthBlock's document verification and protection features work and why they are critical for ingredient suppliers.
Absolutely. So our document protection and verification service is based on the foundation of blockchain and zero knowledge proof, or ZKP technologies. We don't have time, obviously, to dive too deeply into them, but I'll give you a high level overview of how they work. So to many people, probably Bitcoin or Ethereum comes to mind when they hear the word blockchain. Blockchain is actually, it's a collection of technologies that allow us to create shared digital platforms or ecosystems that enable us to do some really great things from a product provenance, verification, and authentication standpoint that we just haven't been able to do in the past. These component technologies previously existed, but they've been put together in a way that has enabled blockchain to function essentially as a new technology. So the primary components of blockchain are a distributed or a network record, smart contract code, validation mechanisms, cryptography, and digital identity. So people might ask, so why are blockchain-based platforms more secure than existing applications and document exchange? So that the foundation to the increased security and reliability of the blockchain data is that all of the participants are operating in the same network or ecosystem level application. With traditional record-keeping software, every time data crosses organizational boundaries, there is an inherent lack of visibility, and reconciliation processes or third parties need to get involved in order for trust to exist. Blockchain participants, however, can see the cryptographic proof that transactions were properly authorized and by who, and that the data hasn't been altered. So a story I like to tell to help illustrate this principle on how blockchains work involves kids playing a game of soccer in the street. Let's say there's two teams and the first team scores a goal. The kids saw the goal happen and they all sound off that the score is 1-0. Now the second team scores a goal and the process is repeated and everyone agrees the score is 1-1. So if the kid on one of the teams tried to assert that the score was actually 2-1, that kid would be overruled because that score is going against the group's validated consensus mechanism. So essentially, blockchains work in much the same way. Blockchains they enable visibility, track and trace functionality, and product provenance and genealogy information, and they establish a single source of truth for multiple parties to refer to. So a metaphor I like to use to show how blockchain establishes a single source of truth involves a small town. Let's say in the middle of that town, there's a book and there's a town square and there's a book in that town square and all the town's business transactions are recorded in that book. People can write new transactions into the book and they can look at past entries, but they can't rip the pages out and they can't change or erase any of the past entries. This is much the same way of how a tamper-proof, immutable blockchain ledger can act as a single source of truth for multiple parties. So the other foundational technology to HealthLock is zero knowledge proof, or ZKP technology. It could be considered a companion technology to blockchain or as a subset of the cryptography element of blockchain. And it's basically a clever way to verify the authenticity of a document without needing to know what exactly is in the document. Unique identifiers are applied to digital documents, whether it be certificates, authorization letters, or any other type of electronic file, and verification tools are used to attest to its authenticity. This is a really big deal because we finally have a quick and foolproof way to detect any altered or unauthentic documents, and it's simple to put in place. So the usefulness of ZKP can be shown through the example of someone buying alcohol from the store. In order to authorize the transaction, the store clerk needs to check the ID of the prospective buyer. The clerk now has access to a lot of personal information, home address, height, weight, etc., that isn't necessary or relevant for this transaction. The clerk doesn't even really need to know the person's birthday. All he really needs to know is whether the person is 21 years or older, yes or no. ZKP Tech can make this happen. It can give a thumbs up or thumbs down without exposing any private or unnecessary information. So ZKP works by putting each document through an irreversible one-way encryption algorithm within the IT security perimeter of the document publisher. The output of this encryption algorithm is a unique code or digital fingerprint that represents the original document. This digital fingerprint is called a hash, and it looks like a jumbled mix of random numbers and letters. And note that although each hash is unique to a single document, you can reverse engineer it back into the original document. This hash is then sent outside of the IT perimeter of the document publisher to an immutable tamper-proof blockchain ledger. When documents are presented to a third party for verification, the third party runs the document in question through the same hashing algorithm and compares its digital fingerprint to the original digital fingerprint stored on the blockchain. If there is the slightest change or the tiniest difference, it will be detected due to the digital fingerprints not matching. So what this means is that ZKP Tech combined with blockchain tech enables us to track the digital chain of custody of authorizations. For example, a certificate of analysis can be verified as authentic, and the organization that issued the certificate of analysis can be verified as having the appropriate certification or accreditation as authenticated directly by the certifying organization. This can be done automatically in the background of normal processes in bulk and with a very high level of accuracy and assurance. So the HealthLock's document protection and verification features, which leverage blockchain and ZKP, are critical to the nutraceuticals industry because they take away a major tool that the shady ones in the industry use, which is to make up or monkey with documentation. With the rapid development of AI, it's easier than ever to make fake or to alter documents. Our technology protects the responsible players in the industry by raising a barrier against illegitimate competition. And most importantly, it helps advance public health and ensure consumers have access to safe, high-quality products.
Yes, absolutely. And, I know you have an emphasis on product origin. So, how does HealthLock ensure a tamper proof audit trail from origin to consumer?
Great question. So, like I said, we lean heavily on blockchain and ZKP to create this tamper-proof audit trail from origin to consumer. So blockchain helps us build trust in the supply chain first through its ability to serve as that immutable single source of truth. As I discussed before, a blockchain record cannot be deleted or manipulated. It can only be appended, and a timestamped record is made of all updates and by whom they were made. This audit trail can be viewed by other permissioned parties. So even if the evidence provided by a brand or manufacturer that supported the safety, sourcing, or sustainability of a particular batch of a product was only self-reported by the brand, the fact that there are documents in the public domain on an immutable blockchain that are standing by the claims the company is making for a specific batch, that should provide a powerful incentive for that company to be truthful about the evidence it is providing. This is also a very powerful signal to the public and to consumers that a company is standing by their commitment to quality, safety, or sustainability for every batch of product when they contribute to a blockchain record. So blockchain is also the perfect technology to help build trust with consumers because of its ability to operate on a network level application and establish the digital identity of its participants. So these characteristics allow it to essentially enact the law of witnesses in the digital world. For thousands of years, judicial systems around the world have operated under the premise that a testimony is more credible and trustworthy if there is a witness who backs up or supports the facts or versions of events as told by the first party. If there is more than one witness that supports and agrees with the first party, then truth becomes even more clear and established. The court of public opinion and trust of the consumer works the same way. Let's just say you're hanging a picture on the wall. If you use one nail, then you can put the picture on the wall, but it'll probably be at least a little crooked or skewed to one side. Furthermore, it will not be secured to the wall very sturdily, and a disturbance may cause it to fall off the wall. But when you use two nails, then you get an even more secure picture on the wall, and your trust that it will stay hanging on the wall will increase. And so it is with a blockchain-enabled audit trail. When a brand provides evidence supporting its claims of quality, sourcing, or sustainability to the blockchain, that's a good thing, and at least there is some basis of trust. But when the brand's contract manufacturer, analytical testing lab, ingredient supplier, farmer, third-party certifier, or other supply chain participant contributes directly to the blockchain on behalf of the brand, then the brand becomes much more credible and trustworthy in the eyes of the consumer and other stakeholders.
Yeah, consumer trust is so important, and they want to know that the products they're purchasing are reputable and authentic. And in terms of combating counterfeit products, what measures does HealthLock implement to maintain the integrity of health products that are out in the market?
First and foremost, our technology makes it possible to trust that a given document pertaining to the origin and composition of a product is in fact the unaltered original from the claimed source. We must be able to rely upon the documentation that is passed between companies in our industry's supply chain. That is a fundamental requirement. If we cannot, then everything we do is on shaky ground. Beyond that, our technology also verifies that the organization that issued that document or certificate is authorized or qualified to do so by validating that it has the appropriate certification or accreditation as authenticated directly by the certifying organization. For example, a nutraceutical product won't be able to just say it has a bunch of certifications that it actually doesn't have them.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen that happen quite frequently, actually. It's a bit concerning. And I think another great feature of HealthLock is that it facilitates direct connections between suppliers and brand owners and consumers. So, how does this feature enhance the relationship and trust between these groups?
So, yeah, one of the features of our platform is that consumers control their own data. They can choose what aspects of their personal profile are visible to suppliers and to which suppliers they want it visible to. They also have the ability to revoke that permission at any time. Also, suppliers have the ability to compensate consumers for sharing their information, either through product discounts or monetary compensation. When consumers have the ability to directly control how and with whom their data is being shared and are compensated for it, their relationship and trust with suppliers is strengthened. So additionally, when suppliers have detailed data attributes from consumers who explicitly shared their data with them, they have a higher degree of trust that their future decisions are based on accurate and reliable data.
Yes, absolutely. And could you share with us how receiving feedback specific to individual batches really helps suppliers maintain high quality?
Yeah, as you know, the raw materials used in supplements, they come from natural sources such as plants. So, and obviously plants can vary very significantly in their composition due to factors like growing conditions, harvest time, and geographic location. So this natural variability can lead to sometimes significant differences in the final product. So by tying the health outcome or effect of a product on consumers to a specific individual batch, which then can be traced back to a specific source, the suppliers can more easily home in on what is working and what isn't working in its vendor, quality assurance and selection processes.
Yeah, that's great. I'm sure that's very beneficial for suppliers to see that feedback and very helpful for continuous improvement for sure. And how does HealthLock support suppliers in managing those recalls? No one wants to talk about it, but recalls do happen. So, how does HealthLock provide support during recalls? And what benefits does this bring to the circular economy?
Yeah, good question. So the Health Flag platform, so in addition to being a tool to trace trustworthy information upstream in the supply chain, can also be used by participants to create blockchain records of downstream participants in the supply chain for specific batches or lots of product. Thus, if a problem surfaces, unfortunately, with a particular supplier and a recall is necessary, it will be much easier to determine the locations of where the affected batches are, and thereby decreasing the potential scope of the product recall. So likewise, by knowing where products end up, companies can help the circular economy by creating closed loop systems where materials are continuously reused, reducing the need for new resources and reducing waste by ensuring that product or packaging or containers are returned for proper disposal or recycling rather than ending up in landfills. So it also helps enhance transparency and accountability by allowing consumers to be aware of the environmental impact of their purchases and participate in recycling programs. So and also by knowing where their products go, companies can demonstrate their commitment to sustainability by showing how they manage the entire life cycle of their products.
Yes, that's fantastic. And it's great that you're able to work with them on recalls because I know traceability can be a huge challenge sometimes and it can be difficult to determine where all your product was distributed. So it's great that you can help with that. And with blockchain technology at its core, how does HealthLock stand out in terms of security and transparency compared to traditional systems?
In terms of using HealthLock as a tool for manufacturers and retailers in their product or ingredient qualification process, HealthLock can act as an authoritative, decentralized database, but with the massive advantage of preserving privacy of content and not exposing any sensitive or proprietary data. There is no aggregation of data in a central IT system through the exportation of documents, but rather digital fingerprints are used for authentications and authorizations. So it can be done, and its main difference is it can be used as a continuous scan of documents, automated as a background service. It's non-disruptive to existing workflows, and it's super easily and cost-effective to implement.
Yeah. And looking ahead, what are some of the new features or tools that HealthLock is planning to introduce to further support ingredient suppliers?
So we're currently working on enhancing our document authentication and verification functionality with an AI capability of automatically assessing the content of documents received in the product and supplier onboarding process. So not only will it be able to confirm that a document is the unaltered original as issued from an organization that is qualified to do so, but it will be able to do the bulk of the heavy lifting for you in analyzing the microbiology, adulterants, heavy metals, and other contaminants testing, as well as doing the label claim verification by comparing testing results against the labels. So this will drastically reduce the cost and increase the efficiency of the onboarding process for retailers and large manufacturers.
Yes, absolutely. Because I know that's typically a lengthy process with a lot of reviewing that takes place. So being able to increase the efficiency would be huge. And lastly, what vision do you have for the future of HealthLock and its impact on the global nutraceutical market?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I envision HealthLock as one of the premier technology platforms in the world that enables suppliers and consumers to trust the information they receive from upstream in the supply chain. Also, as one of the go-to places for consumers to find trustworthy and responsible companies who embrace transparency and aren't afraid of it. So we're already making great progress towards that vision as our platform is a required part of the new dietary supplement product integrity program that will soon be formally announced in the very near future by the Global Retailer and Manufacturer Alliance, which has as its members some of the largest retailers and manufacturers in the world. So we are super excited for the future and for the opportunities it will bring, and for really the opportunity to make a meaningful contribution to making sure consumers have access to safe and high quality products.
Yes, it sounds like there's a lot of exciting things ahead at HealthLock. Well, thank you, Derek, once again for sharing such insightful information about HealthLock's pivotal role in enhancing ingredient transparency and consumer trust. For our listeners, if you wish to learn more about HealthLock or explore their services, we've provided links in the episode description. Remember to subscribe to our podcast for more enlightening discussions on the latest in nutraceutical innovations. Join us next time on Nutrapreneur for more exciting insights. Stay informed and inspired.